Everyone wants the cloud. Everyone wants AI. But here's the truth. Most modernization projects fail because they skip the one thing that matters: understanding their legacy systems.
I will say that something that runs approximately $7 trillion in transactions every single day is not obsolete.
Juan Lucas Barbier, aka the COBOL Whisperer, isn't chasing trends, he's fixing the foundation the rest of tech forgot.
It's not even COBOL or Java, it's called COBOL. So it's a mix between Java and COBOL that no one really understands.
His team uses a human-in-the-loop process with deterministic AI, modernization rooted in reality, not Silicon Valley delusion.
And 99% of the chances is that the modernization will fail. It's impossible for a company to modernize the legacy system without a COBOL developer. If we firstly document and analyze the legacy to check it out what we have, the probability of having a success modernization is 300% more than without a documentation.
If you think COBOL is obsolete, this might be the most important tech conversation you hear this year. So in a world obsessed with the shiny and new, there's a hidden backbone powering much of our critical infrastructure: COBOL. And when it comes to bridging the gap between legacy systems and cutting-edge tech, our guest today is a true pioneer. Juan Lucas Barbier, the COBOL Whisperer and founder of COBOL Agency, is not just modernizing code, he's ensuring the survival and evolution of systems that run everything from banking to healthcare. He's worked extensively in AI, NFTs, and e-commerce, proving that he is truly a digital transformation leader. So join us as we dive into the world of legacy systems, AI-driven solutions, and the future of technology with Juan. So thanks for being here.
I really appreciate it, Tom, and I'm really happy to speak a little bit more about legacy.
Yeah, so I find it really interesting. You know, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about COBOL, and why is it still so vital today?
The reality is people have a lot of misconceptions. I will say the main one is that it's obsolete programming language. I will say that something that runs approximately $7 trillion in transactions every single day is not obsolete. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, I think it's also really important to know, and it's that COBOL just empowers more than 85% of the global transactions, 96% of the airline of the reservations through the airlines or through the hotels. So when you see the global economy and you see the AI and Python, all the new technology, you're like, yeah, that's pretty nice. But the backbone and the infrastructure in the back of your taxes, of your health insurance, of your car payments, of your mortgage, of your bank account, it's legacy, it's COBOL. And it works because it was written 60 years ago. And for many people, it's better, or for many organizations, it's better to have a 60-year-old programming that it's reliable than a 40 days new program that you don't know if it's going to work or not.
Well, yeah, I understand it. I actually worked as a contractor once at a life insurance company, and they had just gone through moving away from COBOL for their internal systems. And well, the funny story is that they had a bunch of people who'd worked there for 30 plus years who were all COBOL programmers. So they didn't want to just terminate them. You know, it's not fair. And most of them had no interest in learning any of the newer like .NET technologies or anything like that. So they made them in charge of teams of developers. And so here we are, these web developers with, you know, ASP.NET applications running on their servers, and our manager does not want us going to meetings. He goes to all the meetings. And so imagine this, he comes back and he shows us this page, and on the page there's a button on the left side of the page, and he says they want it moved to the right side of the page. And then there are like 5 columns of tables, and mind you, this was 25 years ago. So the technology that was available for web was, you know, super small. And he comes back and he says they want each one of these columns to be able to be sorted independent of one another. And he said, so I told them that the button would be moved within like 2 weeks, but that this was like a Wednesday. By Friday, you'll have the sort done. And we all just busted up laughing because we said, you have it backwards. Like I could move the button for you today, but the sorting, it's going to take some writing of code. There's no way we're going to just, have this done and tested for like 12 columns in 2 days. It's just not going to happen. And I often wondered if it was because, I would sit there and wonder sometimes, like, did he make these mistakes because he was a COBOL programmer and he didn't understand, or, what was the deal? Then I started talking to some of the other managers and they totally understood it. So it was really just a one-off. The dude he just didn't know anything about web technologies. And it's kind of sad. He probably should have taken the time to do it. But what kind of legacy systems are running COBOL today?
When we speak about the legacy systems, mainly you need to speak about the machine. So the big guy here, it's IBM for sure. And many people are like, yeah, IBM, it's a legacy company. I don't know why IBM still exists. And when you check it out, the 70% of the Fortune 500 companies still use mainframes, mainly from IBM. But you also have other companies like the French company Bull. You also have Hitachi and Fujitsu, and you also have Unisys. These are like the most common companies that develop mainframes. And you have like two flavor of mainframes in the world of IBM. You have the I series, but it's probably the mainframe that a medium company uses. So if you're a retail company or something like that, you'll probably use a I series. The most known I series was the AS400, super known. And you also have the CJ series that is like the huge mainframe that also have a lot of different versions. And this is widely used by big corporations, banks, financial institutions, and they have few of them.
See, that's interesting. So, how does COBOL Agency help people to get past the common challenges that they face when they're trying to modernize their COBOL systems?
Okay, yeah. When you want to modernize a legacy, I think the most important thing is domain specific knowledge. So when we speak about domain specific knowledge, is that you have the knowledge into your organization to modernize the system. And that's what we always tell to our customers. It's impossible for a company to modernize their legacy system without a COBOL developer. If you have a lot of Java and Python developers that want to modernize your legacy, it will probably fail. Like 99% of the chances is that the modernization will fail. But in some other cases, you can also have a first approach. And what's this first approach? Is what if we firstly document and analyze the legacy to check it out what we have, and then we modernize. In these cases, we check it out, and the probability of having a success modernization is 300% more than without a documentation. Why? Because the majority of the companies try to modernize, but they don't know what they have in their legacy. So you're trying to go ahead and modernize, I don't know, 12 to 15 million lines of code without a clear path and without knowing what you have. And you're putting some Python, Java, Golang developers that does not understand what COBOL is. And that's why these big, huge corporations fail. So our approach is mainly we have three, like we call the 3M process. It's maintain, maximize, and modernize to have a complete path to have a 100% successful modernization process and not fail as the 74% of companies that try to modernize their legacy systems.
So you translated it. My notes say you translated over 1 million lines of COBOL. What does that process look like? And how do you make sure that the translated code stays efficient and reliable?
Okay, that's a really good question. And it's sometimes it's really difficult because the main result you get when you transpile COBOL code, it's it's not even COBOL or Java, it's called Jobble. So it's a mix between Java and COBOL that no one really understands. And the big consultancy groups use it for many years, but when you go ahead and go to a big corporation, they have this kind of Java, but the COBOL developer does not understand it, and the Java developer also does not understand it. So you have kind of the same functionality in the cloud or in a newer platform, but it's an unmaintainable system. And what's the problem of this? It's because it's machine generated code. So when you have machine generated code that no one really likes and no one really loves, uh, you have this problem of not knowing what you have. So you don't know what you have, and you try to transpile this code automatically line for line. So it's like this line of COBOL should be this kind of line of Java, and this other line of COBOL is this other line of Java. But the reality and what is our approach, it's what's the functionality of the module. So we don't analyze every single line of code. We analyze the functionality of the module and how can we recreate this functionality into the new programming language that in the 90+% of the time is Java. So we use a deterministic approach with AI. So we have fine-tuned models. And we also use persons to go ahead and review the semi-automatic COBOL transpilation. That leads us to have probably between 92% to 95% of Java readable and Java native code, and the rest of it we develop manually and with a lot of different tools that we develop on the company. But at the end of the day, the most important for us is to bring to our client a new Java code that is maintainable, that is efficient, and that the new developers from these big corporation, bank, insurance, government, whatever, uh, are going or are able to maintain it for the long run.
So, how do you see the role of COBOL evolving in the next decade, especially with the rise of AI and cloud computing?
Okay, that's pretty interesting because in the last few years we saw a huge development in AI. But the main problem of it is that for programming with AI, you need like for AI, you need three kind of things. You need algorithms, and the algorithms it's these huge algorithms that companies such as Google, such as Mike, such as OpenAI, such as Claude make. You also need infrastructure. So infrastructure are data centers, chips, and energy comes with infrastructure. And then you have, I think, the most important thing that it's data. And the data companies are not as known as the other ones, but are Scale AI and all these kind of other companies. The main problem of COBOL here is that COBOL is a low resource programming language. What does it mean is that you just have 5,100 COBOL repositories on GitHub, and you have like 51,000 lines of code. So the majority of COBOL AI developers are really, really bad, like Claude, OpenAI, O3, or for ChatGPT 4. Even the Chinese models like DeepSeek or K1 are really bad at coding in COBOL. Why? It's really simple because they don't have the sufficient knowledge to go ahead and code in this programming language. So when these huge corporations that have more than 800 billion lines of code into their system bring these closed source systems to the open source world, the AI will be fantastic. Like the AI for coding code will be as good as the AI for coding in Java or in Python or whatever. But when you don't have data to train the models, it's going to be still a lot of things manually. Like like 1 year ago, IBM released Watson X to modernize the majority of legacy systems. But when people went to legacy to Watson X to check it out, what were the capabilities, what can you do with it, what were the main features, you check it out that yeah, it was pretty automatically, but you need a couple or few couple developers to fix all the bugs of the new code and to fix all the bugs of the new Java code or of the maintained code or the analyzed code. Why? Because you don't have enough information.
So, you've optimized many AI projects and you've helped reduce training time. What are some of the key strategies that you use to streamline data pipelines for machine learning?
Okay, I think that the main thing here will be planning. We're really good with planning. So when you have a clear goal and a clear path, it's 10 times easier to do from an AI model to a COBOL modernization project to a COBOL maintenance project. So we use something called Motion. Motion is an AI tool to schedule the calendar, and we set up the goals there, and it auto schedule all the meetings, all the times, all the tasks for every single one of our employees. So what it helps us is to reduce the paralysis analysis by 130%, to reduce things such as not knowing what it's going to do next, and by auto adjusting the deadline of a project, because yeah, we're really bad, like normally humans are really bad calculating the deadline of some projects. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to have a single resource knowledge base. So as a single resource knowledge base, we have one single source of information for the company, for all our employees, or for the majority of our employees, depending of the area of the person. And you can go ahead and go there and find easily, because it's easily structured and easily organized, what's the kind of information you need. So we don't really like to have these all-in-one tools like Notion or like ClickUp, because it's really difficult to find something there. We like something that it's really specific as our company, to go ahead and find information, or to go ahead and have a project management tool, or to go ahead and have a to-do list tool. So with these kind of tools, and obviously with talent, because without the talent it's really difficult to do it, we are able to probably work, I will say, 30 to 35% faster than the other companies in the world of mainframe and COBOL.
So, what advice would you give a company that's just starting to implement AI into their business?
Use AI for everything. I think that's the first thing, and always review AI. So when I speak about use AI for everything, a lot of people just use AI as a chatbot. So they just go to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever, or Copilot, and they start asking questions to it. We have a little bit of all-in-one approach here. So we have sheets with AI, we have our slides, the slides with AI, we have the document, Google Docs with AI, but we also have automations, and we also created some cool stuff with Make and with N8N to have probably 70% or 80% of the business completely automated, and to really have this huge functionality of AI. And when you really understand the fundamentals of AI, you can go ahead and go to agents. So agents are this huge market opportunity. It's different to the workflows that I already mentioned. And agents are kind of the own employees you will have for a fraction of the code, that really knows everything about your company, and that can help you to do tasks without any kind of restriction. So when I try to go ahead and differentiate between an agent and a normal GPT or a normal workflow or a normal assistant, I tend to speak about football players. So, assistant of the football players, it's just a person that you give to him a rule, a instruction, or everything, and this person go ahead and do this kind of instruction, help you with this, help you clean your car, help you scheduling a meeting, help you uh, calling the dudes to clean your pool. But when you go to a football player agent, you don't need to tell him, okay, I probably want to go to another club. I probably want to go ahead and play this season in a different club because I think it will be better for me. Uh, Please get me a deal of 30 to 40 million. No, 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 you don't need to ask him. He will, you will give to him some basic rules of, okay, that's me, that's what I do, that's my stats. And he will go ahead, search with his network, with his contacts, with the people he already know, and give you the best deals possible. So it's the same thing in the AI world. One side you have the agent, it's super easy to use. It's a little bit more easy to use because you don't need to give him instructions. And then you have the assistant that you can only use if you give him a correct and a really specific instruction, because if you don't give him an instruction, he will not work because he's unable to do autonomous job. I think that's the most important phrase here, autonomous. If the machine is not autonomous, it's not an agent.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So you've earned the Rocket Software COBOL Programmer certification. How important are certifications, in your opinion, in validating expertise in niche technical fields?
Oh, I think it's really really important, and you just remember me to go ahead and add all the other certificates that I got this few last months. Uh, I dropped it out from two different universities because I thought university was not for me. But I love learning. Like I really love learning really deeply. And when you have Coursera, when you have Udemy, when you have all these different courses platform, it's really easy for the majority of the people to learn. So certifications, and more importantly for technology as COBOL, as cloud computing, or as AR are really, really important because you are telling to the world, okay, I did not went to a university to spend 4 years. I wanted to do something for myself, and I have the discipline, the passion, and the obsession to complete this certificate without any kind of surveillance from a professor, from a director. I did it because I wanted, because I really love and I have a huge obsession and a huge passion for achieving this kind of goal. So for us, like for hiring our company, we don't really care about which kind of university did you attend or which kind of GPA did you got. We just care about which kind of certification do you have and which kind of thing did you really achieve. Because these two things are really important to know what kind of programs and what kind of technologies and what's the value of every single person that is coming to your organization.
So imagine for a moment that you could travel back in time and you could teach a room full of 1960s COBOL programmers about modern AI. What do you think their most surprising takeaway would be?
I think the most surprising thing for them right now will be cloud code for sure. Like cloud code, it's insanely. It got released like 2 days ago, but I think it's probably a game changer here in the world. And if you are a developer, you know that probably 2 to 3% of the global workforce are code or developers. But as developers, we do between the 33 and the 40% of the global prompts. So when I want to improve, if I would like to improve functionality, speed, and reliability of my own developers, I will tell them go ahead and use cloud code. First of all, because it's really, really easy to use. But second, it's because it makes a professional that already knows about coding between 80 and 85% better. Like AI, it's really, really difficult to work without a human in terms of COBOL. But in terms of if you put one developer plus, in this case, we'll say Cloud Code or Cursor Composer, it's 10 times easier for them to do their job correctly.
So you think their biggest surprise would be the ability to automate coding?
Not just the ability to automate coding, but also the ability to be able to tell the machine what you really want and how do you find bugs. So in many legacy systems, you will see that if you have something that it's really, really little bad, or you have a minuscule error, the program will not compile, like never. And that's the worst thing in COBOL. But with AI, it's 10 times faster for you to go ahead and find this bug and correct the bug.
So if you could use AI to automate just one mundane task in your daily life, what would it be?
Yeah, like I think writing emails are a huge waste of time. I think AI can, like, we're doing it, but it's not AI agent right now. I need to still write my emails and put some phrases and some kind of stuff, and the AI rephrase it. But at the end of the day, we spend a lot of time in our emails, and every single minute you spend in your email is a minute you are not doing something productive, as coding or as uh, speaking with clients or as doing project management or whatever that really adds value to your corporation.
I just saw, I was actually looking to see if I could find it again. I just saw yesterday a tool that can connect to either your Outlook desktop, it can connect to Gmail, it can connect to Hotmail, it can connect to Outlook.com, and you pay them a fee. And what it does is it sits there and it watches as mail comes in. And anything that you've trained it, needs a response. The next time you log in, let's say you got 10 emails that need a response, you'll have 10 drafts sitting in your draft folder ready for you to send. And they claim that after you use it for a while, and I kind of think it's true. They claim after you've used it for a while, you'll 99% of the time you'll open the draft, read through it, hit send. Open the draft, read through it, hit send. There's nothing for you to change because it wrote the way you wanted it written. I think that's a really interesting point because you said we spend a lot of time writing emails, and you're not wrong. I mean, I actually spend more time in Slack because my team is all over the world. And so I use asynchronous communication all the time. Yeah, I actually recently, I've started using ChatGPT more on my phone than anywhere else because it's just so easy to just talk to it and say, blah, 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 blah. And you could talk for 10 minutes. And then, you have a prompt. Whereas if I had to type that prompt out, take me forever. So I don't know. It's an interesting. I think you're right. I think we're going to head to a place where AI will handle the little mundane tasks like that for us, and we won't have to. So I have one last question for you, and that is, if your career was a video game, what would the final boss be, and how would you defeat it?
I really like that question. It's a really cool question. I never imagined that you will ask me that. But let me think, and I will take at least 1 minute to think because
Sure.
it's probably the most difficult question of the year. I will try to say that it's browser from Mario, and the
Okay.
main reason for it it's because I needed to do a lot of different things, and a lot of different episodes, and one episode and another episode and another to finally meet him. And it's not just one single time that I will meet the final boss. It's multiple times I will meet this dude, and I'm like, fuck, I need to defeat this dude again and again and again and again. And the final boss will be the same dude, but with 10 times more power. And the unique way to defeat it will be using uh, these these fire things Mario tends to have, because I need to have a superpower, and the unique way to gain this superpower is with all these kind of huge experiences. So I need to learn from the boss from the final boss every single time I meet him to finally defeat him. So that's why I think Mario it's the best way to describe my final boss. But I don't know when I will be able to defeat it finally. I already defeated it probably 2 times or 3 times, but I know it will be at least 30 to 40 more times, and sometimes I will not be able to win. So I need to go ahead and repeat and repeat and repeat again the
Yeah,
level.
like any typical video game. Yep, that's true.
Yeah,
That is true. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a great conversation. How can my audience reach out and connect with you?
uh, you can go ahead and reach me at Juan at COBOLagency.com, or you can call me at with my American number is 646 693 2725.
All right, great. Well, again, I really appreciate you being here. Great conversation. You're very knowledgeable. But thanks again for your time.
I really appreciate being here. I love the question for sure. The best question was the question of the video games.
I'm glad you liked it.
um, I would love that more people ask me questions like that because you normally are in this formal super corporations world.
Exactly.
But when you ask me about video games and about my life path and my career, I'm like, okay, I need to go ahead and put my passions and my life together. And my brain was like, okay, which kind of video game did I play? Which are the best ones? How can I speak with it? And I was like, yeah, I do legacy systems, so I need to speak a little bit about a legacy video game, but something that is also related to my life. So it was a wonderful question. Real difficult, but wonderful question.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, again, thanks for being here. And thanks everyone for listening to Gaining the Technology Leadership Edge. New episodes every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific on YouTube and LinkedIn. And YouTube thinks that you'll like this video that's on screen right now.